Go. All right, so you can keep working. I'm going to show you how you can actually get your clients to send you iridology photos. And I'm going to walk you through even better information that I have posted on YouTube, because I've been playing with this a lot more lately, for how to get your clients to take good photos of their own eyes. And I'm not saying perfect, I'm not saying super excellent, I'm saying usable here. Because you can do a lot with a usable photo that's not perfect, right? And so here's some things that I have found really, really helpful in keeping my business going and growing over this past few months, right? And I mean, we've been locked down basically since April to varying degrees, and we're hitting our second wave. So they've imposed, not back to super lockdown, but they have imposed some added restrictions again where I live. So the first one is make sure your clients know you're open for business and that you have ways to work with them online, if indeed you do. And hopefully after we've talked today, you'll have a little bit more of an idea of how to work with them online. So make sure they know. Phone them, email them, send out a postcard, do something that says, hey, still in business, still offering whatever kinds of services you are allowed to offer during this time. Second thing is get the Zoom app. The Zoom app is free for meetings up to 40 minutes for up to 3 people at a time. So if you're doing one-on-ones, you can at least do them by Zoom. You can do them as 40-minute sessions, as long as it's not a massage thing. How are you going to do massage over Zoom, right? That's not going to work very well. But you can do as many of these one-on-one meetings as you want, absolutely for free on Zoom. Now, the beautiful thing about Zoom is it is HIPAA compliant for privacy, right? So get the Zoom link, or maybe you've got another app similar to Zoom that you like that works well. Send out, and all you have to do is send out the meeting link to your client for their appointment time, and they can log on and they can join you for the appointment. That way you can actually see their face. I like to see my clients' faces whenever I can. They have to have a camera. They can do it from their phone. You can, if you've got a camera, you can do it from your phone, right? Or you can do it from your computer. I like to use my laptop with a better quality camera than what my phone is, but that's just my preference. Now, you may not be able to run whatever your normal screening activities are for your clients, as you're doing your assessment and you're deciding how you want to work. So you're going to need to figure out ways to do that. If you're doing constitutional iridology, you can get your clients to send you photos. The photos need to be pretty good. They need to be pretty up close. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that. And, if you can get photos of their iris, both of their irides and their sclerae as well, that can even be more powerful. Now I'm going to post a link. Actually, no, I'm not. I've changed some of the tech on my computer. I'm running on Firefox now. I've decided to walk away from Google as much as I can. I don't like their tactics. And I haven't figured out how to run everything I need to through Firefox. It has some more higher levels of security in it. But back in my YouTube channel, just search for Judith Cobb, Iridology Education, and you'll search back several months like that to about April or so. And you'll find a video there that gives the basics of how to do iris photos if you've got 2 people helping your clients, your client plus someone to take the photo plus someone to work the light. So that's one thing that you could do. But I have worked recently to figure out how to do it with one person, just do it for yourself as selfies. So we are going to go over that as we get further into this today. All right, you good? Super. All right. So again, if you've just joined us on Facebook, I'd love if you would just wave at me and let me know that you're there. And if you're with me on Instagram, let me know you're there as well. So when we look at these images, and for those of you who are on Instagram, I'm going to bring this much closer. This image on the right was taken with my 24 megapixel LED illuminated, designed specifically for iridology camera. Beautiful image, absolutely beautiful in every way, shape, and form. This is done, and I apologize, this is not the same eye, this is my other eye as I was experimenting. This is my right eye. And this was done with my cell phone. Now you can see a lot of detail in here. You can see big light artifacts. We've got light artifacts here too. We can work with that. What we don't want is room artifacts. But as we look at this, one of the challenges that most people have is they don't get close enough to use their cell phone well to do this. We're going to talk exactly how to do this. We also want to notice, look at the difference in color of the irides and of the skin, things like that. This is one of the inconsistencies of photography. So you're never going to take the photo as gospel true for color, right? So you just need to be aware of that. So even when your client sends you a photo, you're going to have a conversation with them about what colors are you really seeing. Because when we look at this one is much bluer. This one is a little to the more green side. Which one is accurate? It's actually probably a little bit more this one. LED tends to shoot blue, okay? So we're going to talk about this a little bit more in just a moment. Again, you have to really work at it because it's going to take a lot of photos. This is not a great image. This would not be usable for iridology, not at all. We've got too much light interference down here. We've got too much light interference all the way around. So we really want to make sure that we've got a picture that's in good focus. Focus and reduction of light artifacts is so important. You know, this was a print film camera. Notice the beautiful definition. These are all the same person. This is my 24 megapixel LED camera. And so those are very comparable for detail, but this was a very fast attempt with a cell phone. Now you've got to remember that if you're doing this with a cell phone, it's going to take more than a dozen shots. You're going to have to really work at this, and you've got to really encourage your clients to be patient with this process. They might try for 5 or 10 minutes and get frustrated and walk away from it, but encourage them to come back to it because they're going to get a good photo eventually. It's just not going to be immediate. So this is one of the eye we looked at a moment ago, done with my cell phone. Now I want you to notice here I've got the light coming from the side and we see it. And whenever we've got a light artifact that's that big, we need to move the light around so we bring it from the top. We might be able to bring it from the other side or from the bottom as well, but we need to move the light so we can see what's actually behind it. Now, in addition to that, here are the basic tips, and I'm going to show you the exact type of equipment I use because it's nothing super high tech. Set your phone, have them set their phone for 2x zoom, only a 2x zoom. Anything much more than that, and you're going to lose definition, right? So a 2 power zoom on their cell phone. That's what we're looking for. Doing it without the zoom is not going to get you close enough with enough definition. I mean, we can see fiber in here. This is good. We can see the closed lacunae. We can see how shaded the lacunae are. This is very, very good. And so we want that 2 powered zoom. From there, when they send you the photos, you can work with enlarging it on your desktop or on your laptop, because you're not going to do this on a cell phone when you're analyzing photos. I promise you, you're not going to, right? So these are done with a smartphone. Are they perfect? No. Are they usable? Absolutely, yes. And if you can get your clients to do what I'm going to teach you to do in just a minute, that's going to help. Now, this is that same image that we saw blown up a little bit. So we see a little bit more of the definition here. We can see some of the fibers. We can't see all the fibers really well. So we're not going to be able to use that much, but we can see where the lacunae are. We can see where there's some pigment. We can see that we've got a central heterochromia, right? We can see where there might be some areas that we may want to be asking questions about depending on our client's needs, right? So they're not going to send a picture and say, tell me what's wrong with me. That's the absolute wrong way to do iridology. What we want instead is for them to send the picture and for them to book an appointment to do over Zoom and for them to tell you what they want help with. Because when you know what their concerns are, you can then assess the eye in that context. There may be tons of markings in this eye, but they may have nothing to do with what your client is concerned about. Don't go there at this stage of the game. Focus on your client's needs. You want to use your time well. You don't want to bombard your client with too much information. So focus on eye markings that correlate, that triangulate, that work together to help you understand what your client's needs are. Okay, this is so, so important. Oh, I meant to put in a different image here. I think I goofed and put in a wrong image. Okay, so let's have a look at what I did to actually get these photos, because I did these by myself, no helpers needed. And it was pretty cool to be able to do that. When you look at what you see here, I have a mirror, just a little mirror that I put up on a little box so that it would be the same size, the same height as my phone. Okay, so I've got a mirror. I have a very bright little light, and actually I'll show it to you exactly. This, for those of you who are on Instagram, it's this one. Those of you who are with me on the webinar, it looks like this. And I don't care what yours looks like. It doesn't really matter. This is an amazingly white light. Okay. And so that's what we want, a very white light, because if you've got a yellowish light, it's going to alter the color of your images. Then we have this little stand here, which is actually this one right here. It's just a little gorilla stand, I think is what it's called. And for those of you who are on Instagram with me, it's got these bendy legs that you can do all kinds of cool things with, right? And that's what I usually put my phone on for my Instagram people at these things. And the light. And so when you're doing this, first thing to know, what I want you to look at back here is, notice how the only light artifact we have is from the light I'm holding up. Notice that, whoops, right there. Whereas these other images, we were seeing light from all over the place, right? We had light from, I don't know where. And so we don't want light from anywhere else. So you need a room that has diffuse lighting. Now, a little layout of my house. In my ensuite bathroom, there's a window that is over the bathtub shower. And then we have the shower curtain, and then the toilet and the vanity and the door. And so when the light is off, and it's daytime, there's enough light for me to see, but there's no direct light. And that is absolutely perfect because there's a bit of illumination, and I can see what I'm doing, but I'm not going to get light reflections on my eyeball. And that allows me then to use my little side light thing, this one, right? And have the light just where I want it. And that's how we got to where we have absolutely no other light artifacts except the light we are using. You can see a bit of a reflection of my camera right here. But we can see through it, so we're okay with that. All right. So the tripod has told your camera really steady, and you've got the camera turned so that your forward-facing lens is facing you, and your screen is facing the camera. All right. So that means that if you've got your phone in here, your screen is what's showing in the mirror, and your actual camera lens is facing you. Why do we do that? Because you need to get really close, but you also need to make sure you've got the eye in the image, and you need to be able to see your camera button to take the photo, right? And you can see in the mirror how well centered the eye is, whether it's relatively in focus or not. And you can see the camera button, right? And so it makes it really easy to see everything you need to see to get the picture you want to get. So again, you want the room to be darkened with diffused lighting, so no overhead lights, no direct light coming in through the window. You need a tripod to hold the camera. You need it set with a forward-facing lens towards your face, and the screen of your camera or your phone towards the mirror. And you need the camera set on a 2x zoom. And that should allow you to get what you need to get. Now, if you had a helper, that would be fine. The helper could certainly hold the light and press the button when they saw that things were focused, but you can actually do this completely by yourself. You actually don't need a helper, which is, in this time of lockdown, we're tending to be a little more independent, aren't we? All right. Any questions on any of that before we move on? Okay, so I'll kind of watch for questions, but here's the upshot of that. Again, if you can get your clients to take their own photos and mail them in, if you need to have a release form signed, you can email that to them as well, and they can return it by email. You can be in business. You can actually be doing client sessions online over Zoom, because you can share your screen over Zoom and show them back the photos that you're looking at. And actually they'll see your cursor moving, and that you can show them what you're looking at and describe what it means. So with that, I would like to introduce you to the Dynamic Iridology Assessment System for Holistic Health Practitioners. This is a course. It is that teaches iridology. It is the only live, online, fully mentored course for nutritionists, herbalists, and naturopaths who want to streamline their clinical work without sacrificing client care. This is also, it helps you to stop working overtime to create client programs. You get your client programs designed right when you're with your client. It helps you to stop creating programs that are way too big and way too involved. And that means that your clients can follow the programs, can actually get the results they can get. They're not going to feel overwhelmed. They're going to have success. That's going to engender long-term retention, which is what we want, because a one-off or a two-off appointment series is not going to get your clients where they want to go. Now, I'm wanted to have a link here to post for a webinar that's coming up on Thursday, but again, the tech was just not cooperating with me today to let me do this properly. So what I'm going to let you know is that on Thursday, November 5th, I have an info webinar coming up. And there we go. For the next course start date, which is January 28th. And so if you want the link for the November 5th webinar, where we're going to talk about who this course is for, we are going to talk about how it will benefit you and your clients. We're going to talk about what's included in the course, what kind of support you get, all that good stuff. Reach out to me and I will send you the link. Either send me an email or direct message me on Facebook or Instagram. And I will send you the link so that you can join us for this webinar. Because you want to know more than just markers. Iridology is not a one-to-one correlation. It's not a situation where one marker means one thing. When we understand how the markers work together, we can go much deeper and actually be much more accurate and much more effective in our program creation. So it's important that when you learn iridology, you don't just learn this is the reaction field for the thyroid, but you need to then understand what are the other markings that can show us that the thyroid is inherently programmed to struggle, right? It's important that you understand all the interactions if you want to do this well, and if you want to be able to create really effective programs. So again, if you want that link, let me know and post it, DM or email me or however, because the whole purpose of this course is not just to teach you iridology. It's to teach you how to use iridology effectively in your practice, whether you're having to work online or whether you can work face-to-face. And it's to also help you understand how to create really tight, really laser-focused next step programs for your clients that they can have success with. I've been doing iridology in one form or another for nearly 40 years. I started out as a Jensenian, and about 30 years ago, I switched over to constitutional because it made more sense and it worked better for me. And I learned that when we do iridology well, when we do it the right way, it creates long-term relationships. I have clients that actually started with me when I was a Jensenian, and continued with me through the change, which I was grateful for. And so I've got clients that have been with me for between 35 and 38 years, and not just one or two. I've got a lot. I've got a lot that have been with me for 20 to 30 years. And that's what doing iridology in a very useful way does. It doesn't overload the client. It helps them to understand what they need to do next. And we craft that program. And that encourages them to come back every month or two or three, typically every month for about 4 or 5 months. And then they go off. They've got their new base. They can go off for a few years. And then as they age and their body shifts, they come back in, and we rinse and repeat the process from where their body's at now. But it leads to long-term repeat business, which is absolutely lovely. So there you have it, some key tips to help keep your business going. Let your clients know you're still in business. Let them know what services you can offer over Zoom or over the phone. And add iridology to your repertoire, because getting your clients to send their eye photos in, you can then do iris assessments and really do fairly complete wellness assessments and develop fairly complete programs, next step programs, using the photos your clients have sent you. So if you're interested in learning more about the course, again, reach out to me, PM me or DM me your email address, and I can send you the link, or, let's be in touch so that we can make sure you get the information you need to join us for the webinar on Thursday, November 5th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I hope that's been useful for you. And thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate that you were here. Thanks for investing this 30 minutes with me. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.